Hi everyone, this is the Ask Annie podcast, Horse Girl reviews on products you use. This episode is brought to you by Air and Water Solutions BioOx. Horses spend their lives exposed to an astounding array of airborne irritants and diseases. BioOx is the world's first organic air scrubber that destroys toxins, fumes, and germs, leaving only pure, fresh air in your stable. Call the BioOx team today at 301-246-0151 or contact the BioOx Clean Air experts online at biox.us.
My name is Sam Sofer. I'm a PhD and a PE, which is professional engineer, those degrees. And my title is I'm president of BioOx, doing business, Air and Water Solutions, doing business as BioOx.
Thank you for joining us today, Dr. Sofer.
Would you mind telling us a little bit about Air and Water Solutions BioOx?
Oh, definitely. Thank you very much for this opportunity, Annie. Air and Water Solutions is a biotechnology company doing business as BioOx, which is a registered U.S. trademark. And our goal is to focus on basically bringing high-tech biotech to the planet and to the beings, humans and animals and horses in it. And basically what we're doing is we're trying to use the natural way that the planet cleans itself to go ahead and clean the air or clean the water or clean the soil. That's our main goal.
Wonderful. And you're the founder. What was the driving force behind starting this company?
Well, I have been a chemical engineer working for chemical plants with good industrial experience. And I was a professor and actually department chair at the University of Oklahoma. And I was doing a lot of research in bio, but basically applied bio. In other words, bring it out of the lab. And I got a call when I was in Oklahoma. I got a call from a recruiter in New Jersey. And the governor of New Jersey back then had decided that he would try to work with the schools to recruit what he considered top-notch people to come to New Jersey. And so the headhunter called me and said he had an offer I could not refuse. And he was right, because there was 5 years of unrestricted research, which means that it's not peer-reviewed, so it can be as out of the box as you want. So it was really good, and that was the best job ever. And we learned how to design bioreactors for many things. And one thing we learned how to do was build biological oxidizers, to destroy pollutants and contaminants. So the whole driver of it at New Jersey Institute of Technology was to get it out. The purpose of going into the lab was to develop something new and get it out. That was our specialty. So we learned that we could build these standalone biooxidizers that would actually wash the air. They're scrubbers, they're not filters. They actually wash the air. So that means they remove all the smallest particles. There's two kinds of air pollution. One is the large particles that can fly out the window or be blown out the window. Those eventually fall down anyway. But the very smallest ones form aerosols, like viruses or like ammonia for horses. Ammonia is very, very small. Filters cannot catch them. You have to actually scrub, you have to actually wash the air with this water that contains enzymes. And after you capture the poisons, you have to destroy them, and the enzymes destroy them. So basically, you're doing two things that horses really, really need. One is you're pre-washing the air they're breathing. They need clean air to breathe. They can't have all that dust and stuff. So that's very, very important. But another one is you're destroying the ammonia they make. The reason ammonia is a poison, and we have to get rid of it. And we get rid of it in urine and in sweat. Both urine and sweat cause ammonia to come back up again, like in the stall. And so the horse keeps rebreathing the same poison all the time. So what you have to do is you have to destroy the ammonia. And otherwise, the horse's liver would be destroying the ammonia. So basically what this does is assists the horse's lungs by pre-washing, pre-cleaning the air, and assists the horse's liver by destroying the toxins. Otherwise, the horse would lose a lot of its oxygen fighting the toxin, and less fighting disease, it'd be much less healthy like that. So here we are.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I mean, you kind of take breathing clean air for granted, and especially with those smaller particles, you might not necessarily know that you or your horse are inhaling those, which can cause some serious harm, it sounds like.
Well, this happens for more than just horses, like mice in mouse labs. They have the same problem, you know, they pee and where they sleep. And actually humans do. Swimmers in swimming pools actually, because of their sweat, they have very complicated chemicals in the air. Also remember, viruses are very small and filters do not catch them. But when you're scrubbing it, you do catch it. And we've shown that our enzymes destroy 2 different kinds of viruses that we've tested and 5 different kinds of bacteria. So for example, in dogs, with dog kennels, we help prevent kennel cough. And also, just while we're talking about dogs, to us there's no difference whether it's a human or a horse or a dog. Living beings need to be respected and taken care of. So with dogs, we have a clinical study going on right now for dogs with cancer. When they're diagnosed with cancer, as soon as they're diagnosed, they have the choice of taking, you know, the normal chemo, radio, or whatever, or doing nothing, or in our case, working with us. So what we do is we scrub their air clean, which helps the oxygen level, and we also give them an oxygen supplement. And we've been getting very good results, only with 14 dogs. But some of the dogs were supposed to die many months ago and are not. So this all has to do with oxygen, because without oxygen, we won't have the energy to fight disease. We won't have the energy to kill viruses or to detoxify ourselves. So that's why we have biooxidizers help us do this. So Bodie Miller, the Olympic skier, called me and asked me if we could help his horses. He had an athletic training center for horses. So when I explained the idea that in our bodies there's a reserve of oxygen. This is, by the way, on our website under Sciences. But our bodies store oxygen, not just in the red blood cells, but also in their own way, and we call that a reserve of oxygen. So everybody has a reserve of oxygen. Dogs do, baboons do, and horses do. So, and humans do too. So what we're saying is that by putting these air scrubbers in, we will increase the reserve of oxygen of the horses. So Bodhi set us up a lab and everything in his stalls, and we had a lot of horses in there, but we were actually doing tests on, at first only 11 horses, and then it went up to 18 horses. And the beauty of working with horses is that you can measure them before and wait a month and measure them after. And we found out that their blood oxygen was much higher, and their ability to create new oxygen was much higher. So now we're predicting that with, that's why we're making the dogs have air scrubbing too, because now we know that works, that portion works. So what we're predicting is that if their oxygen is higher, they'll fight disease better. Bodhi said that I noticed that myself. The horses are much more calm. When the air is clean, there's less tail swishing, there's less nerves. You could see less nervous energy. It's a good, calm energy. And you can see already that it helps them. Bodhi was saying, as a skier, just before a race, the key was to be calm instead of using up all your oxygen, getting nervous. So we're predicting that this will improve the actual performance of horses. And actually, we're looking for anyone who wants to try that with their horses if they have a veterinarian that wants to work with us.
Wow, that's exciting. What neat innovations that are continuously happening with the company. It's not just stagnant. It seems like it's completely growing on itself, which is really exciting.
So it's related because energy is the driving force of each of our organs. And the more nervous we get, the more oxygen we use up, the less oxygen we have in our oxygen bank account. So that's it. On our website, we explain it with oxygen and we explain it with the horses. We talk about a reserve of oxygen, and we also talk about building the new oxygen. You have to build this kind of oxygen in order to use it. It's a brand new discovery in blood. We have a lot of patents in there. But the idea is, again, health. The idea is health. We want to improve the health of horses. We also want to improve the health of the planet. Actually, we get our enzymes from the planet. This is how the planet actually does clean itself. So we're using a natural way. We're copying the planet's way, the way the planet cleans its soil. When you have an oil spill, sometimes you'll hear people say, oh, in a while, the lake will clean itself. The lake will clean itself because it has biooxidation enzymes and all kinds of living things that clean it. We're just borrowing from that and making it available.
Yeah, that's incredibly interesting. I appreciate the natural approach to it too. That's very conscious. How does BioOx apply to the everyday horse owner?
Well, for one thing, everybody that visits the barn will smell no barn, basically almost no barn. They'll smell no ammonia. And the horses will actually smell each other, but it's always a fresh smell. It's not like some horse was there 4 weeks ago and they're still smelling that horse, you know. It's always clean and clear, so they can have a better social connection from the way they smell. So the barn owner should be happier for that reason. Actually, also for the reason that when the barn owner goes there to work with the horse, it will help them breathe better air. You know, amazing things become electrically charged. So to clean air, as we mentioned this before, we're talking about you have to clean the bigger particles by sucking them through, which we do. But you also have to clean the aerosols, the electrically charged particles. And those are harder. So we create a little waterfall in there. I think the horses like the sound of it too. We create a waterfall in the machine. And the waterfall is electrically grounded. And that's how come it can absorb all the aerosols and all the urine and all the bacteria and everything else that's in the air, you know. So after you do that, again, you have to have the enzymes to digest them. So when you have all those things working together, the people and the horses that are living in what we call a clean air zone all feel better. It's very noticeable.
Yeah, I can imagine, and especially as you said, noticing the emotional impact on the horses, that their nerves seem to be calm. That's in and of itself is great.
Yeah. They know it. You know, when we first put these units in, they're made of plastic, so they don't corrode, and they're made in the U.S., by the way. So when we first put them in, some people said, "Okay, no, these horses are going to damage this stuff. You know, they like to kick things and everything else. Let's protect them." And we said, "No, let's not." So we found out that the horses were actually like this. They can smell the good air, and what they do is they actually nuzzle the machine. It's really funny, because some of the oats from their mouth falls into the machine and tries to grow in the water because the water is oxygenated, you know. So no, the horses like it. They know what it is. They know what it does. They're very highly intelligent. They know when they can smell their own urine, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And what do you recommend? How do you recommend horse owners or barn owners use BioOx?
Well, we recommend that they create a clean air zone for all the horses they have. And what we do is we put different units. The units fall right where they water the horses, where they have water near their stalls, and they just plug into a regular plug. And they need to be watered. They'll use up some water, just like our lungs will use up some water. And what we do is we have a formula, depending on how many horses you have and how clean you want the air. We have some high-end horse barns that don't care how much it costs and want to keep these machines on a different floor. We have a formula that's on our website too, under specifications. We have a formula that says which model fits what. In Bodhi's case, he had like 48 stalls, and we had like 23 of our Model 300s. And we had we have a huge model called the 5000. We had some 5000s near like the entrance, because wherever the entrance is, the odor is more because there's a lot of feces there and you know, manure and so on. So we design it for the barn. We apply it for the barn and create a clean air zone. One thing I wanted to mention, some of the modern barns are using these mats, these plastic square grids on the track, thinking that's going to help the horses' hooves. I'm not sure it does because, we've had some recent accidents in the races, for one thing, because plastic doesn't always behave the same way. Sometimes it gets tougher when you push on it. Like when you try to open a package that doesn't open, it gets tougher. So I think that's hard on their hooves. But what we discovered was some of these plastic pieces, like little squares of these pieces, go up into the air like an aerosol. They're actually electrically charged, like static electricity, the way something sticks to your shirt as you pull it out of the dryer, like that. And those things go into our machine. So when we see quite a big particle of that, we think that those particles need to definitely be cleaned out of the air, because those things will really hurt the horse a lot more than ammonia. They're really plastic particles. So we know how to capture those. We've also captured some horse flies, by the way, because what happens is the machine, by doing what the horse does, is alive, and it makes carbon dioxide too. And flies are attracted to carbon dioxide, but once they go there, they're done. They can't get out. So we think there's going to be less insects in the air, less flies and horse flies.
Yeah, another perk. Absolutely. Going back to you, what is your typical day like at BioOx?
Whoa, well, we're very small, and the good thing is that we're all U.S. based, and so it's very easy for us to communicate, and we're lucky we have a very good team, a team that really wants to help. See, remember that every time we make a placement, like we place some for horses, but we also place some for swimmers. Swimmers can get really, really bad respiratory conditions. After a swim meet, in the trash can, you find used inhalers. It's very sad. So the best thing that drives us is once they use our machines to clean that Olympic swimming pool, all these athletes always using it are always going to cough less, be much better performers. Same with the horses. So that gives us a really, really good feeling, and that's what really drives us, is because every time we find a new client, and every time we send them enzymes, we know those enzymes are going to go a really long way to helping a lot of lungs, so that drives us. So basically, it's nonstop movement yesterday, but we all work out of our office largely, but we have an office and warehouse area where we assemble things. And so yesterday there were 4 of us there, and it was nonstop movement. It's like an ant colony with a lot of communication between us. It's a lot of fun, it's a lot of fun knowing you can help people and horses and pets. It's really nice, especially getting good results from the dogs and the cancer study. By the way, we need dog volunteers too, because we want to move this cancer study also to humans, to other animals such as humans.
Wow, that's incredible. Would you say that's what you enjoy the most, is the ability that your products are helping humans, animals alike?
Absolutely. And it's in a natural way, because some people say put UV light into the air. No, because you can have all kinds of other particles form. Some people say just suck it in. It doesn't suck in. Blow it out. You can have the windows down. You're going to still smell the ammonia, So people try to destroy pollutants by putting pollutants into the air, That doesn't work. Like ozone, wow. It's much, much better to take things out of the air, electrically ground it. We're grounded to Mother Earth. So, and use a natural technique. Just take things out of the air and not put things in the air. So that really drives us, yeah.
Yeah, my goodness. And how can a listener learn more about BioOx?
Well, if you click onto BioOx.us, BioOx stands for biological oxidation. So it's bio as in bio and ox as in oxygen. So there's 2 O's there. It's BIOOX.us. Everything's made in the US. So if you click on that, the science, if you scroll to the bottom, there's a lot of information on the science. We want to be data-based. Like on the oxygen, we have numbers. We want numbers. With the cancer, dogs and cancer, we want numbers. So I think they'll enjoy that, just going through, especially for the horse owners. Be sure to look at what Bodie Miller has to say, and also look at when we compare oxygen, when we mention oxygen, and you'll see the horse data. So I think that'll really, really help you a lot, because you'll see real numbers.
Yeah, absolutely. In my research, I was looking at some of your brochures, and especially the information that you have on Bodie and the pamphlet that you have for horses. It's very interesting, and what a neat and innovative product.
Yeah, and you know the thing is, I think horses. I think horses are very intelligent in many ways, more intelligent than we are, and I think they appreciate it. I really do. I think they appreciate it. You know, so that's what we know we're going to clean their lungs. You know, that's for sure, and we know we're raising their oxygen levels. But and we also know that we can destroy the bacteria and viruses that are in the air, especially nowadays. There's viruses going around. So when there's no aerosol, when one horse gets sick, it's very unlikely that the rest will get sick because there's no aerosol. And aerosol is like lightning. So if somebody sneezes over here, the entire, in this particular case, for example, a church, 91 people can get the disease because the aerosol is like lightning, you know. If you get it out of the air, it won't happen. So it takes something natural, it takes something biological to destroy something biological. And disease, like viruses in the air, are biological. It takes something biological. And our BioOx media, we know has intelligence, and it knows what's toxic.
Yeah, that makes total sense. That's all the questions that I had. Was there anything else that you wanted to talk about?
No, I just want to say thank you very much. And if anybody would like to know about horse performance and work through their vet, or if anybody's got other pets like dogs and cats with asthma or what have you, that we want to join the cancer study, we want to have a lot of data. We want to have at least 1,000 subjects, you know, because we really think that we're helping them. We know we're helping them right now, and we want to help all animals in the future.
Thanks for tuning in. Learn more about the Ask Annie podcast by following us on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest at Ask Annie Podcast. Have a suggestion for a product you'd like me to use in an upcoming episode? Email me at askanniepodcast@gmail.com or leave a comment on any of our social media pages. Find even more Ask Annie episodes anywhere you listen to podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, and many more. The Ask Annie podcast is a production of the Equine Podcast Network, an entity of Equine Network, LLC.